All right, guys, we're back. We're also recording this course live on a live stream. So if you haven't followed DCI Education Group, please do. All right, so as we move into chapter 4 of LASH specialty, we're looking at client safety and infection control. Okay. A lot of time in 3, we've learned about allergies, sensitivities. We learned about the A&P of the eye in 2. And now we're moving down to client safety and infection control, which for Tennessee was one of the key reasons why we got a LASH specialty course. All right. And so as we begin to embark on chapter 4, let's look at why we need to study client safety and infection control. Okay. I'll be doing some additional highlights. You'll be able to go back and check out my highlights and my notes as well. And we'll start here. It says eyelash technicians should study and have a thorough understanding of client safety and infection control. All right. As an eyelash technician, you'll have daily contact with your client's skin and eyes, both important avenues of infection. This is what I was telling my students last night when we were going over state board prep, that the only discipline, well, right now, estheticians are not asked during their examination about blood spills and things of that nature, of puncturing the client's wound, skin, and how do we clean it up. We got to have that first aid kit there. But LASH specialists, a part of your state board is going to be, yes, sanitation, client safety, infection control, and keeping it clean, protecting the client, protecting you. What that looks like, keeping your client draped, and also you keeping your hands sanitized and your gloves on. All right. That's what that looks like. You're going to also apply 6 individual lashes. All right. And so after you apply 6 individual lashes, the proctor will ask you to show them how you would care for a client who drew blood. So just say your tweezers, so your isolating tweezers pricked the skin and the client started bleeding. How would you take care of that client? Okay. So this is going to be an important chapter. That's pretty much your state board exam when it comes to practical, but this is going to be an important chapter to help us move to the part of how do we do that, and then how do we protect the client and also protect ourselves. All right. So it may seem like a little repetitious because you already did your barbicide certification. It may seem like a lot because this is something you may already do, but majority of our test exams since 2022, whether you're at LASH specialty, aesthetics, or cosmetology, has been on the prevention of infection. Okay. So sanitation, cleaning, disinfecting is a majority part of our state board exam. This is why they stress it a lot. Okay. So as an eyelash technician, you come in contact with the client every day. That's why you need to know about infection control. Okay. You're around their eyes, you're around their skin. All right. One thing about you, I don't play around my eyes and I don't play around nobody else's eyes as well. So you could poke a person's eye, anything could happen. Partially blind, it can go blind. We're working around some sensitive organs. Okay. And with us working around sensitive organs, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Knowledge of products and practices to prevent the spread of infection. And so you've done your barbicide certification, but on top of that, the disinfectants that you use in your salon or spa, knowing when to use them, how to use them, okay? The ingredients, knowing, how you should store your adhesives versus on the lasting wear, shelf life wear of those particular products as well, including disinfectants. Okay. You must understand and practice techniques to prevent and control exposure to not only blood, but also other potentially infectious materials to protect your client and the health of the client. Here's the thing. When we look at PSI, page 12, 11, 12 is going to be your key. Okay. It's going to be your key to passing the state board simply because it's going to make sure that you follow all the precautions guidelines for the workplace and also for your clients, which means you're going to do a lot of hand sanitizing. You're going to wash your hands a lot. You're going to change gloves a lot. Okay. Also, you're going to make sure you do not cross contaminate. Cross contamination could be you sticking your finger into the product, getting the product out, and whatever's on your finger has just contaminated the whole jar. You're going to use a spatula and you're not going to wear a wood stick, and you're only going to use that wood stick once. You're not going to put it on the client and then go back and put it back in the product. That's cross contamination. Okay. It is not going to work. Just took bacteria from one end and put it back into another. And so we're going to learn all about that, how to prevent it. If something dropped on the floor, you're going to pick that item up off the floor. Okay. You're going to pick it up off the floor. You're going to you're going to remove your gloves, sanitize your hands. All right. And then when you're ready to go back to your client, you're going to put your gloves back on. Sanitize your hands, put your gloves back on. They go hand in hand. All right. You'll never leave your utensils or anything like that, any spills on the floor. You want to go ahead and clean that up. And then you're going to sanitize your hands and change the gloves. Anytime that you're touching other parts of your body, you need to sanitize your hands and change the gloves. Okay. So that includes you touching your hair. That includes anything. You're not going to come back and touch the client's face after you have touched all these other things. So that's one of the reasons that we have to study client safety and infection control. That's how we protect our client and protect us as well. One reason one thing is we evolve, you're going to notice that I'm going to say train your eye. No matter what course you're in, I'm going to say train your eye and be able to understand what a person is saying versus what you're seeing. You're going to trust your gut and trust yourself. Okay. What they're saying and what you see. All right. Because 9 times out of 10, they want the service done. All right. They don't care about these parameters you're putting up. They want the service done. But in doing that, you're bringing cause for bacteria to grow when you go home, within your shopping salon. So you have to be very cautious of, how we interact with clients in these establishments for those that just want to get a service. Okay. Here's a note. It's your responsibility as an eyelash technician to use proper, let's highlight, and effective infection control methods that help safeguard your health and the health of your clients. So washing your hands is not just enough. Okay. It's the beginning. It's the beginning. Washing your hands is just not enough. And I have to be very serious with you and be very cautious, because if you're wearing longer nails, you can definitely carry bacteria. Even if you're wearing shorter nails, you can carry bacteria. So get you one of those nail brushes that you put in the bathrooms. You can let it sit in your disinfectant, rinse it out, but put soap on that brush and brush your nails across the free edge, and you'll start to see it eliminates a lot of dirty bacteria. That's the dirty bacteria you don't want on your face. That's the dirty bacteria you don't want on your eye. Okay. You're also responsible for employing safe work practices, which means you got to hold everybody accountable. Hold everybody accountable. You're just not the one doing right. Everyone else has to do right as well. Okay. The standard for hygiene is the protocol followed by the dentist offices while keeping it clean, keeping it clean, keeping it clean. Okay. You don't want to harbor any germs or bacteria. And areas that people touch often, which is doorknobs, bathroom, faucets, and then also toilet handles. Okay. Those should be cleaned regularly. When I say regularly, it should be cleaned regularly. When I was in the salon, I would just eyeball people every time they came out of the salon, not eyeball them, but eyeball the door. Every time they came out of the bathroom, I would make a beeline to go in there and make sure I wipe down those 3 things. Okay, especially we were in the pandemic time when we don't know what's going on. And so I was just making sure things were clean That way, we're not transferring any bacteria. No one's taking anything home. So hygiene is a big thing for those that are getting the braid certification. We teach hygiene. Okay. And so a lot of times you have to educate your clients on hygiene. All right. And some of the things, if you was to say, you all had a client come in and they were laying on the bed and you were getting ready to perform whether it's a facial or a lash service. What are some hygiene components that you may have to express? Okay, you can go to the chat if you want to. What are some hygiene components you may have to talk about? Because people come in, they don't get the same home training as you may have got. You may think it's it's obvious you should take a bath every day. Everybody don't think that. But if I'm coming in on a table, oh, I need to make sure I brush my teeth, make sure my breath is fresh. I'm gonna make sure I wash my eyelashes, any crust or sleep that's in my eyes. I want to make sure that's taken out. I'm gonna wash my face, period. Okay. I want to prepare myself hygiene based. Of course, making sure I keep something fresh in my mouth because you will get the first whiff of anything, but making sure there's I bathe and also there's soap, water, and deodorant. Okay. Those are the basics of our hygiene. And you really do have to teach this. And you really do have to express this. And even if it's a sign or when they come in, you can give them a little flyer and tell them to go put the robe on. Whatever you have to do, you will see this again. And it's like we never stop. Um, yes, yeah, come in with deodorant on, smells of intoxications. And like, what do you do? Like, Maya, what would you do? Like for me, I don't smoke, but we have a lot of people that in their leisure, their spare time, their business, they may smoke cigarettes or they may smoke marijuana. For me, smoking just chokes me up when I smell it. So I prefer not being around people who smoke. More so in my business, I prefer my young ladies, my young men, not to come in smelling like marijuana. What do you think happens to individuals that do that? I have to ask you to leave. Not ask you, I have to tell you to leave because it could stink up a whole room. It has happened. It has happened, y'all, and we have not trying to embarrass anybody, but we've had to have that student come out and try again tomorrow. Okay. And I had another student that says, I haven't smoked today, but you sure smell like it. That means somebody didn't take a bath, or we got the same clothes on, or you're sitting in a car while they are smoking, or you're in the vicinity that they are smoking, and you're getting the second hand, it's getting in your clothes, it's everything. And so even that person had to leave because it created a distraction in the classroom, but also I had students and myself that could not stand the smell. Not that I don't know people or got family members that indulge in that. It's just for me, my breathing, my great day at work that I want to have, and my clients, I'm going to make sure that when they come to my establishment, it's going to be smoke free. It's going to be inviting. I do want to challenge your senses, but I don't want it to be a negative impact. All right. When we talk about smelling good and you want to challenge your sense, talking about aromatherapy oils, essential oils, I'm not talking about marijuana. Okay, so we have to have that common stance. I've even seen on social media, and you can comment where the LASH tech was smoking reefer and passing it to the client. I was just like, something ain't right. But that's what she allows in her business. Um, that's what she allows in her business. I believe we're all going to find a clientele for what we do. Okay. And her clientele just happen to be that's who she attracts. And that's what, hey, birds of a feather flock together. Hey, fine. That's not what I would like to attract. It's not the message I would like to leave. And so Even the basic hygiene, having that conversation is going to be essential, especially if you got team members. You want your team to lead, all right? You want your team to lead. That means everybody has to be on point. They got to follow all the requirements in a salon, and hygiene may be one of those you may have to put on the rule list. Okay, and bring some professionalism back to the industry because you have people all over the place. I seen a young lady doing lashes at the airport, and I seen a young lady braiding at the airport. I seen a young lady doing lashes in the car. I understand you want to make your money and do this and do that, but there's a place for everything. And I think once you move into a professional aspect, you start seeing the bigger picture and not just hustling or sides, just making it a side job on the lower end. But you got to see the bigger picture. So
Miss
hygiene, if you,
Cox, I know
yeah,
exactly who you talking about. The girl that do them in the car in the airport. She don't wash her hands. She don't prep their lashes. She don't do nothing. She just put tape on their eyes and start lashing. I cannot stand her. I just had to say that.
oh, it wasn't somebody local, but okay. I saw it in Atlanta.
Yeah, she not local. It's she go viral on TikTok for that because a lot of people be asking her why she don't take sanitary precautions, and she be like, report her to state board. She don't care. People still gonna book her, and they don't care. But her lash set's like
Don't wash
$50.
your
So
hands. Don't.
no, they just get in the car and she do them at a she'll pull up to them and she'll do it in her car.
Yeah,
She don't
yeah,
wash their lashes or her hands.
yeah. And she probably can't stay still for somebody to catch
Yep.
her. I can't do it because you know what? My senses. It's like as soon as you put your hands up, I smell food. I can smell everything. You know, and so I hate to have. I had a bad experience. I'll tell y'all about it in the classroom, but I had a bad experience in Canada, and we were doing Dutch dinner. And if you ever heard of Dutch dinners, my first time in Canada and some of the other people, when you order at the restaurant, that's your food. Dutch dinner was like you got to pass your food around, and so they pick up my plate. I'm like, hey, but it's three people down, and they just got plates passing it around, and I'm seeing people take their fingers and go in and grab my food. I really did not want it after that, but we were at another restaurant, and some Jamaicans, nothing against Jamaica, but they smelled like marijuana. But we were sitting at the table, Dutch eating again. I didn't know. And he took his hand and he took his chip and dipped it into my dip. And I saw his fingertips go into my dip. I was like, I can't wait to get back to the States because I can't take this Dutch eating or I'm gonna go get me something to eat by myself. But it was just the point of I don't know where he's been. I know what he smelled like, and his fingers hit my food. And that was just a major thing. And he was a barber or whatever, but that was a major, major thing. And that's my thing in going out into groups in Canada with natives. I don't want to do Dutch eating. I don't want to pass my food around. I'm sorry. I want my fingers in my stuff. And that was just one of the things I was like, no, not gonna happen again.
I like them to bring me my plate. I'm not sure. No.
Yeah. By the time, but they were so fast, by the time they grabbed it, my plate was three people down. When I figured out what was going on, my plate was three people down. I said, I would stop talking. So my plate was gone. I was like, oh, and I still got to pay for it. So I was just like, this is different. But that was they was like, oh, you just OCD. No, I don't want to eat something everybody's hand has been in. So yeah, that's just what you want to do. But you want to make sure you wash the hands. You want to make sure those protocols are in place. And many people are getting salon suites and things of that nature. And so even if you do have a team or you're just bringing in different individuals, this is the same thing, even if it was skincare, even if it was hair care. You may have to have a talk about hygiene. This is what we do here. We're going to wash hands. and really, the law says before you touch anybody in Tennessee, that you're supposed to wash your hands. The state board, PSI, has presented one of your workplace precautions. The number one thing is washing your hands, preparing yourself for the client. All right. So it's washing your hands and then going back and sanitizing your hands and putting on the gloves. That's the protocol. And we should be able to follow the protocol. No matter how common or it seems, we need to make sure that we have a gap, a wedge, that we don't transfer bacteria to the client and the client does not transfer bacteria to us. Okay. Here's the thing: prevent cross contamination by always using cleaned and disinfected products, tools, and work surfaces. So you want to make sure we do not do cross contamination. You may say, Ms. Costa, what is cross contamination? Putting your finger in one product and you're just using your fingers. Okay. There's wood spatulas. There's plastic spatulas. There's things that you can do to take that product out. You're never going to put your fingers in. That means you're the only one person can use that product from this point on. Nobody else can use that product because you have put your skin cells, your gel, your germs into that product and it's going to multiply. Okay. So you're the only one that's supposed to be using it. We're going to use spatulas. Even if there's a product that you have to squeeze out, that product never touches the skin. If the nozzle touches skin, it has to be disinfected. Okay. Can't use that nozzle on anybody else. Rules are in place for a reason. We have to really make sure we know those. And that's the difference between someone who's just doing something and someone who's making it a career. You want to know all aspects of it. And point, you got to know also what are single-use products. So if you're a lash technician, what are single-use products that you use? What are single-use? Single-use are disposables, things I can only use one time on people. Okay, animals, everybody, one time. All right, and so mainly when you're setting your station up, you may opt for only using disposables because it may be a safety thing too, a reassurance to your clients. Well, I know she's not going to use anything on me that she used on somebody else because she throws away all of that at the end of the service and then rebuilds it. So disposables are the way to go for estheticians, and you have the makeup section. You cannot use makeup brushes. You have to use disposables. Okay, you absolutely have to use disposables. And we'll learn about that tomorrow when estheticians we pick up and we're going to go through the makeup application for Stay Board tomorrow. Okay, makeup application for Stay Board, and we're going to use all disposables, no makeup brushes. Think about the tools you use every day as a lash artist, and you probably got a collection of tweezers. I know you probably do my you probably got a collection of tweezers. Those may be the only thing. You probably got multiple pairs. You're not going to use the same tweezers on the same people, but there's a cleaning process. There's a protocol to those tweezers. Everything else is disposable, like cotton, Q-tips. You use them and throw them away. Okay, cannot be used on anyone else. So our metal implements are multi-use. We wash them, disinfect them, and use them again. But our cotton products, disposables, cotton rounds, any 4x4 gauzes, Q-tips, all of that is really single use, and we only use it one time. Okay. And we want to immediately throw those away. One thing is we make sure that our garbage cans are labeled, and with our garbage cans being labeled, we can immediately, if you are sitting doing the lashes, you probably should have a trash can that you can just put your little foot on, the top opens up and you can put the items in. You don't really want to touch the trash can. If you do touch the trash can, what do we have to do? Throw those gloves away, sanitize our hands, and put new gloves on. Okay, simple as that. Here's prevention 101, just a great analysis to prep. When we look at the risk of infection can greatly reduce in a few simple steps. All right, we're going to eliminate pathogens through proper hand washing. Everybody gets their hand washed. Okay. Hand washing, cleaning, clean up under our nails, and disinfection or sterilization. All right. That's just your general infection control. Then clean and disinfect tools and equipment after every use. So you look at many barbers, they have many clippers. And so what they also, after they use one, they have another one set up. When it comes time for break, they can get those cleaned and then they set up. Um, Having multiple tweezers, multiple metal implements are going to be amazing because you'll be able to keep going. And as you keep going, you're not using the same equipment on everybody else. Okay. And you want to clean and disinfect every surface. It says keep your skin intact to reduce portals of entry for bacteria. So when we talk about keeping the skin intact, you want to keep your skin moisturized. Okay. You want, if your skin is dehydrated, all right, lack of water, you need to dehydrate your skin. How do we start that? If you don't drink water, you need to start drinking water. And then we want to use water-based products that's going to put moisture back into the skin. All right. Keeping the skin soft and pliable, moving, smooth. That's going to be the best bet. As your skin starts to get rough, dry, and cracks, then that's an opportunity for bacteria to come in. Okay. Same thing for your clients as well. And even with your clients laying down, what are they not doing? They're not doing anything with their feet. They're not doing anything with their hands. You can give your clients hand treatment. Okay. You can ask them to wash their hands with a certain scrub product, and then you can put oil and shea butter on their hands, massage it in real good, and then put their hands in heating pads and let their hands just sit there until for the whole duration of the service. What's happening? Someone that's had dry skin, dry hands now have soft, smooth, moisturized hands. You use that as an upcharge or it's just a benefit for them booking with you. Either or, you're using some wellness, okay, some wellness nuggets to help them along the way. Remember, you're there to beautify, enhance. And so if you notice the client is beautiful and you're enhancing the lashes, but there are other areas that need some assistance, use what you got to kind of just introduce these additional services to your clients. And that doesn't cost anything. By you adding heat, and those are moisturizing benefits, you're going to put more moisture and make the hands softer. That texture is going to soften up. Um, Keep the skin intact, as we talked about. Um, Actually, when you look at the dealing with the face, nothing should get into the eyes, the nose, or the mouth. That's key. No products that you're using should get into the eyes, nose, and the mouth. Those are portals for bacteria other than the skin being cut. Okay, bacteria growth. And so be very careful and mindful of what we're using and how we're using. And then as we're working with our clients, be prepared to turn away or reschedule clients who show signs of illness. Y'all, the common cold is a communicable disease, so anything that they have that transfers from person to person, you cannot do. I had a lady, oh, she got so mad at me. I remember this. I was instructing, this is before COVID. I was working for another school, and I was on the floor, and we had the sign up about excessive coughing, or you'll have to be turned away if you are sick, because that's the chapter we were going on. So we made sure those signs were up. And guys, let me tell you, my student came and got me, and it was two students that came and got me. They were in the wax room. This young lady was getting lashes. And as she was getting lashes, she had this pus material that was coming out her eyes. And you could tell that she was very stopped up, but she had it coming out the corners of her eyes. And my students were like, should we keep putting this glue on her? Should we keep lashing? And I had to come and I examined her. I said, hey, we're going to have to stop your service because there's a material coming out of your eye that looks like pus, but it's probably cold. And right now it could be contagious and it could spread to, you know, our students, and our students have reservations about putting glue around that area. We don't want you to have any issues. And so once that clears up, you can come back. She was not, I have to go to the airport. I have to do this. I have to do that. I don't care. They can work around it. It was a really, really big thing. The lesson out of it, my students learned that clients are amazing. They are almost like family, but what they want is what they want. They don't care about you getting something, going home and infecting your family. You got to cook. She didn't care anything about that. She wanted those lashes done. Of course, she didn't get them done, and she was very upset with me that day and the day after. But we were following protocol. And this lady, she was also coughing, not just like cold coughing. Okay, so there's a lot going on with her. Sounded like respiratory issues or whatever, but she insisted because she had to go to the airport that we were going to do those lashes and not give her any back talk. And I said, ma'am, this is not that. Okay. And my students, I'm so glad that they came and got me. They stood up for themselves and said, hey, we can't service her because she's doing all of this. Bacteria is coming out. She has a foreign substance coming out her eyes that look like pus. They didn't want to service her. And they didn't. I held them back. They didn't, but it has been a lesson that they learned forever. That although the clients are amazing, they want what they want, and they don't care if you get something and got to take it back. But guess what State Board says? You can't service them. There are a lot of people doing what they're not supposed to be doing. You can't service them. Okay. If it's communicable, contagious, you're not going to be able to service them in your salon. Also, State Board says that if you have something communicable or contagious, you can't work. All right. And so it's on both paths, both paths. So make sure that. Remember, you are not licensed to diagnose illness or infection. We observe, we stay within our scope of practice. Okay. So we can identify conditions that many individuals may have, and then we send them over to a physician. Okay. Looking at personal habits, and I'm just going to highlight this first one. It takes 21 days to build a habit. It also takes 21 days to break one. Okay. So when you come in with personal things on how you do stuff and things like that, that's been there for me. Okay. We find that with clients as well. It's important to think about your personal habits in terms of how they may increase or decrease your risk of transmitting an illness. If you're not washing your hands already, it's going to be a hard thing for you to do. If you already don't use sanitizer, it's going to be a hard thing for you to do. But challenge yourself 21 days to start a new habit and 21 days to break a habit. Okay. Challenge yourself that if I have all these clients, the first thing I do, I'm not going to let time rush me. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to hand sanitize. And I may even do that in front of my clients just to give them some reassurance. Okay. The same thing is also in sanitizing, in cleaning and disinfecting your workstation. Although you may have worked late, get it done before we leave. Do not say, well, tomorrow I'm going to come in early and I'm going to clean up. All right. Because State Board may be waiting when you come in early and you clean up. All right. So you want to make sure that you are taking care of the business the day of, or you hire someone who's going to do all the cleaning for you. And that's also a habit that you will need to build or you'll need to break. Is that I got to remember every day after such and such, I got to make sure I do A, B, C, and D. It can be done. Hand washing, we'll watch the videos and things like that. With hand washing, you want to at least go 26 to 30 seconds. We want to use soap and water. Okay, soap and water. And we'll watch the procedures and watch the video for proper hand washing. You want to remove germs and bacteria. You can sanitize your hands all day long, but you're gonna need to get some soap and water in there some kind of way. Here's a note about antibacterial soaps. And you have to be very mindful of the antibacterial soaps, antimicrobial soaps, which means they cut down the bacteria growth. Okay. Um, it doesn't absolutely eliminate it, it cuts it down. Okay. A lot of the chemicals that were used in antibacterial soaps prior to 2016 are not used. So you have a lot of antibacterial soaps that smell good, but they're not as strong as they used to be. All right. They smell good, but they're not as strong as they used to be because they had a lot of stronger chemicals in them. And think about those chemicals. They touch your hands, they dry you out. Anybody remember? I'm gonna tell you what the soap my grandmother, great grandmother, I remember us growing up on. My great grandmother, she didn't have nothing but gold dial. Put a one in the chat if you remember the soap you guys grew up on. We had gold dial. That was it. They used that for everything. And don't you know, I still pick up every now and then go down and I smell it and I bring it home because it just makes me remember the good old days. Gold down. that was our that was our jam. Oh yeah. Irish Spring. Many people hated it, but baby, they know you have taken a bath in Irish Spring because it's gonna be on there, on there, on there. Irish that go down, y'all. It does dry out. It does, but don't you feel so much cleaner? I like the body wash as well. Don't you know the gold dial body wash? I only find it at Walgreens. I can't find it nowhere
It's
else.
so hard to find. You have to
Yeah.
around the city to find it. But when you see it, you
Where do
gotta
you find
stock up on it. My
it?
auntie
Yeah,
they'll grab
multiple.
it for me when she go in the store and she'll see it. She'll put me on it.
Y'all, I'm exactly. I'm gonna stock up. I'm gonna
Yeah.
remember you. Some people said dial. You hate it. It's too sticky. Yes. I can't do that that much. I mean, I'm in a dial now, but I can't do that that much. Ugh, you know, and well, not that dub. I just can't do dub that much. And when it comes to deodorant, I do like Degree, but I like the spray Degree, not the solids. So I like my spray deodorant. I'm just kind of iffy. My skin can be sensitive, y'all. And food to stress, I can have an excellent workout at any time. But I ended up using this body scrub and it was lavender and vanilla. When I tell you it was so amazing. It went on my body so smooth. Man, a couple of days after using it, I look in the mirror, I got this, and it feels like around my collarbone, it was just like, I said, I remember I put it right up here and rubbed it in. I said, I can't do it. It's just certain things I can't do. And so I just make my own bars and I just make my own bars. Yeah. Oh, you like Old Spice for men? And you know what? They have so many different ones. I have a friend and he was like, give me the such and such, such and such. I was like, you, I guess that's a thing for guys, but it smelled good. So hey, he liked it. I loved it. It was something about it sounded Hawaiian or something, but anyway, he loved it. I said, okay, fine. But that's my thing. I go to Walgreens and get the Dow body wash, and you definitely got to stack up with it, look for the coupon. But every now and then I take a bar and I smell it, and it just takes me back to my great grandmother. That orange bar, it stained the sink. You had it washing your hands. She had one in the kitchen, and it was just everything. I can get some Bath and Body hand soaps, and they smell good, but I feel like it doesn't do a whole lot of cleaning. And this is why a lot of the ones that used to do a lot of cleaning, they dried out, they were very strong, but they had chemicals in them. So the chemicals are banned. You can't really use them in soaps anymore, those particular chemicals. And so it goes to say, are you really getting antibiotics? Is it really reducing the number of germs that it says it's reducing? Okay. Going for moisturizing bars and things of that nature. I'm gonna tell you one thing. Um, yes, I love Bath and Body Wash, hand soaps, but I cannot use their sprays. I cannot use their body washes. I can do the hand soaps. I can do the candles, but I can't use the sprays or body washes. Even when I wear expensive perfume, I almost got to get toilet water. The perfumes that are made out of water, they don't last a long time, but they're fresh. I can put them on my skin and I smell amazing. But the perfumes that really last a while are the ones with oil based. Man, they last. They're amazing, but sometimes my skin does not like them, so I have to put them on my clothes. Okay, and I love Arabian uh, perfume fragrances, and I think everybody's starting to love them. But I love Arabian fragrances because of the oil content. But I like them in. I like other things too, but I like it to feel fresh. I don't like my perfumes to be heavy in oil unless it's Arabian fragrance. And that's just coming from someone who loves fragrances and perfumes. So I know what my body can handle. And based on what I got going on, my body say, yeah, we like that, or no, I don't like that. Okay. So think about that. You can discuss that with your clients as well. As far as what's their daily, what soaps do they use, or you notice something going on around the eye area. Are they even washing their face? And we even have a student that says she washes her face with soap and water. Um, and I have to tell her a bar soap is still harsh on the face, but a beauty bar has more moisturizers in it. And that's what I like to make. I make beauty bars that are loaded with sea moss, loaded with goat's milk, loaded with aloe, all that good stuff that's calming and relaxing. Okay. And has great moisturizing abilities. That's what I like to do when it comes to bars. And so even with hand sanitizers, guys, you see how this person is getting the hand sanitizer? That's how we're supposed to get it. How do you normally get it? You probably have put your hand under there and taken your thumb and pressed it. Y'all, we're not supposed to cover the nozzle like that. You're not even supposed to touch the nozzle. You're supposed to put your hand underneath, on top, go down. Okay, hand underneath, and you're on top, go down. So some people may be thinking, yeah. Some people may be thinking that hey, you're just supposed to grab it and go, but you're not supposed to grab it and go. All right. So hand sanitizers, they do contain a high amount of alcohol. All right. Alcohols are good for the skin too. Some people would say alcohols are very dry, very hard, but there are different type of alcohols. There's alcohol that you can use in hair products, spritzes, hairsprays. There's alcohols that you can use in shampoos. There's alcohols that you use in hand sanitizers as well. And then there's alcohol itself. 90% really, really dries out. 70%, guess what? Can be used as a cleanser and hand sanitizer. 70% alcohol, it can be used to clean your hands. And 70% alcohol, as of Tennessee says, can be sprayed on your table, sprayed on your facial bed, your lash bed as a cleaner. Okay, so you should keep some type of alcohol. If you're gonna do alcohol, keep the real deal. Okay, that's why you have alcohol in your kits and things like that. Hand sanitizers generally contain a high amount of alcohol. Here's the cleaning aspect, but it makes everything dry. Okay, it makes everything dry. Okay, due to the drying effect of alcohol, hand sanitizer should not be overused. Let's see. Make sure we're muted.
You want just the eyebrows to do?
All right. Here we go. Due to drying effect of alcohol, hand sanitizer should not be overused. There's somebody heating all the time. But if allowed by your state, it's an excellent option when hand washing is not possible. So our state really wants us to use hand sanitizer, okay? And so we use a lot of hand sanitizer, okay? But still do not eliminate the water. It does have a high percentage of alcohol. So, you know, if you're going to use hand sanitizer, let's look at Bath and Body Works. Great hand sanitizer, but fragrance, two drying components. All right. I need to combat it with some moisturizer. I need to combat it with some moisturizer. And so that's something you can educate your clients on as well. Hey, they can go wash their hands, but do you have any skin moisturizer as well? Get you a pump and put some lotion in. So as a cleaning, a softening effect as well. Okay. So we look at cleaning and disinfecting. We have learned that sanitizing is only for our hands. Sanitizing is only for our hands. We are going to clean our workstations. Now, the difference between cleaning and disinfecting. Cleaning, I'm just removing the visible dirt. With dirt coming back again, yeah. Cleaning, I'm just taking like a wipe and I'm just cleaning. Okay, throwing it away, wiping over the table. But disinfecting, I'm spraying that product, I'm letting it sit a little while, then I'm coming back and wiping. Okay, disinfecting is going to kill more bacteria, more germs than cleaning. All right. Disinfecting is what we want to do in our salons and spas. All right. Cleaning is the first thing we do, and then disinfected is the next thing we do. Cleaning, disinfecting, and sterilization are going to be your things that your processes that you're going to go through as far as cleaning your salon, spa, and implements. All right. So proper infection control can prevent the spread of disease, okay, caused by exposure to potentially infectious materials on an item's surface, okay? You're causing it to shut down. I'm finna shut it down. I'm finna start cleaning, and then I'm going to go into disinfection. We want to clean. We're going to wipe doorknobs, counters, treatment beds, as was stated before. Things that you can see that's dirty with the common eye. Okay, and disinfectant is going to go in and it can do the same thing, but it's going to go a little deeper and kill microbes that we're not able to see. Okay, we want to clean and disinfect non-porous areas. Non-porous porosity is the ability to absorb. And so you have porous, that is going to be like a couch, that it's a fabric, it's porous. Then non-porous is going to be like a table, plastic table, okay? Most of the time we are spraying and we're cleaning and disinfecting non-porous surfaces in a salon or spa, okay? Non-porous surfaces. So surfaces that do not absorb, that's what we will spray, okay? And you'll spray, clean, wipe, things of that nature. Proper disinfectant, you will need to use a disinfectant, and I'm going to just put it in the chat. Yes. You would need to use proper disinfectant and disinfectant that kills bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Okay, period. So that's going to eliminate a whole lot of things that you're using in the salon. You're going to get barbicide wipes or marvicide wipes. Whatever you clean with needs to kill these three things. Clorox wipes, or when you go into grocery stores and you're on the cleaning aisle, a lot of them clean, get rid of bacteria. Or it fights against bacteria and fungus, but don't fight against viruses. It fights against bacteria and viruses, but don't fight against fungi. So you're going to have something that takes care of all three. And so for us in the school, we use barbicide wipes, or barbicide spray. When you go to state board, you're going to use barbicide. Okay, period. Barbicide wipes. And it's going to have the label on there. And you know that those wipes kill bacteria, fungi, and viruses. So you got to find something effective across the board. Okay. Barbicide is a brand name, but there are other companies that have those three main treatments in their products. And so choose what you may, but that's where you want to start. Sterilization is a part of the infection control process. It is the strongest part of infection control process, okay? When I say the strongest, it's going to kill even the growth of the bacteria. So cleaning kills the surface. It's going to get rid of the surface dirt. Disinfection is going to go deeper, like a deep cleaning, but sterilization is going to get rid of just even the bacteria growing back. Think about boiling a pot of water at 212 degrees. That's when water starts to boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. At that moment, you can drop a glass bottle in and pull it up. It has just killed the bacteria in the bottle. You can drop your extraction tools for estheticians, your metal implements, your extraction tools, your tweezers. Drop them in that boiling water. Pull them up, and they are squeaky clean, ready to go. No life of bacteria at all. Okay? What we would do, we will first wash with soap and water. All right? Wash with soap and water. Once we wash with soap and water, we can drop those metal implements into the sterilizing component, whether it is boiling, and we don't really do the boiling aspect in the salon or spa because they don't have kitchens, stoves, things of that nature. But we have sterilizers, all right? So I wash with soap and water, okay? When I wash with soap and water, I may go in and do the disinfectant process. Let it sit for a set amount of time. Come out of the disinfection process, rinse with water, dry off my implements, and then put them inside of my sterilizer. For whatever the set time is, maybe 5, maybe 7, maybe 10 minutes, and then pull them out and store them in a dry, clean container. They are ready to use when your next client, okay? We got to make sure that process is done. If we're not using the sterilizer, or if we're leaving our items in the sterilizer overnight, it's just rusting those tools that we bought, spent a lot of money on. But we got to get to the point where we're using our sterilizer. So LASH techs, if you are using, you have large clientele and you're using tweezers and your metal implements all the time, you need to clean with soap and water, disinfect those implements, and then go into putting them into your sterilizer. Just ensuring that everything you're using on your clients are clean, and you're not transmitting, you're not a carrier of bacteria, and it just gives another level of assurance. And explain to the clients what that is as well. Here's the caution. Although they can make effective storage options after disinfection or sterilization, UV light units do not effectively sterilize implements. So do not just go purchase something because it has a UV light. It needs to say sterilizer, okay? If you're gonna open up a shop in Tennessee, whether it be LASH specialty or aesthetics, you need to have a UV sterilizer, okay? Not just a UV light, a UV sterilizer. Okay, sometimes your hot towel cabinets can also have a sterilizing effect in them. So 2 in 1. All right. And your implements can stay clean. You don't keep them in there. And a lot of times you've seen the sterilizer at barbershops where the guys put their clippers in. It's the same sterilizers we put our tweezers and our implements in, our extractor tools and things like that. Okay, to keep germs away. All right. I want you to continue to read chapter 4 because it looks like yeah, we just got a little bit. Okay. So we're going to finish reading chapter 4 where we talk about disinfecting equipment. I'm going to finish up with disinfecting equipment and work surfaces. And you're going to continue reading from page 58 all the way down till you finish the chapter. Okay. We'll look at a couple of videos on Tuesday about sanitation, disinfection, and then just prepare to move forward as well. And I believe we're going to start talking about products and ingredients. That should be very, very fun. So disinfecting equipment, which means if you're going to use the equipment, it's in the treatment room. Think about LASH equipment. You got the bed, you got the light, you may even have a ring light. You got the stuff that makes you move. You have your cart. All of that has to be disinfected after every service. Okay. Same thing with estheticians. And we're going to build on it. We're going to make sure before we leave that we're taking care of the bed, we're taking care of our light, our machines, our hot towel cabinets. That's where everybody, just as we learn, we're going to continue to be conducting those trainings. So disinfecting the equipment, everything has to be cleaned. Okay. Our work surfaces. It says most states require their work surfaces be cleaned and disinfected before beginning a service. Yes, this is your prep and pre-treatment. Tennessee requires this as well. Making sure also you clean the doorknobs and handles daily, multiple times, probably a day if you have a lot of foot traffic. Okay, you want to make sure that you're cleaning towels and linen daily for your clients. Even Maya, you being a lash specialist, for your clients to come in and you see something like going on their cheeks, like a breakout or something, you can tell them, you can ask them questions about how often do they do their laundry, making sure they're washing your face. That helps around the eye area as well. Changing the linen, changing the sheets is also going to help them in those areas. But you make sure you clean your towels and linen every day. Tennessee has had a law in the past that says as long as you rinse that towel in hot water, you can use it again on the barber side. No, we're not doing that. Clean towels and clean linen for everybody. If you don't want to do the linen, you can do the paper that goes over the bed, but you still have to make sure that bed is clean for every client. All right. So when we look at multi-use products, this is where we're going to stop and we'll pick back up. But start reading from this factor on where it talks about multi-use products. And pretty much we know what single use. So single use will be the opposite of multi-use. Multi-use are simply items that we will wash, clean, sanitize, and sterilize and use again. Okay? We will use these again. They are not disposables. Okay? And so one thing about it, everybody's test, everybody's practical exam has a yes or no question. Did these students know, or did the candidate for testing know the difference between single use and multi-use? You want them to say yes. Because if they say no, those no's will add up and you'll have a low score. Okay, so we're always going to be talking about what's multi-use, what's single use. All right. That's going to be all we have for today, guys. I want you to clock out at your normal time. You know what time that is. Let me go here.